What's going on, everybody? Gamer Arrow here. Now, this is another build from the PTR, but this is a build that I've actually have been wanting to do again since season one when it was good, because it was only good because of the the Barber Heart, the Barber Malignant Heart that was allowing it to explode for millions of damage. Now, this is finally a version where it is doing millions of damage, and it can get you through a tier 65 just fine. The only thing is you are going to need a lot of health. I do not have a lot of health, so as you can see, I'm already contradicting myself. But anyway, um, Era Perdition, this is gonna. I absolutely love this thing. I prefer this thing over the Shaco. I do have a Shaco right here, but I was able to reach. Um, I was able to reach the armor cap and everything just fine. Now, obviously, for health issues, you could just and you're at 3K. But I prefer the Era Perdition, especially considering that we are. This is gonna be a build where you are freezing everything. Absolutely, everything is gonna be frozen. So obviously the Era Perdition, running Enhanced Warcry, um, and then Tyrael's Might is going to be another. It's a staple of every single build for this season. I'm using Petrify. Petrify is also going to be a staple when it comes to the runes. It will be a staple in everybody's skill set. Gloves. Now, if you're good on armor, you can roll armor off. I would prefer you have at least I have nothing on here that I actually is actually needed, but obviously ranks to either ice shards or core skills, and attack speed. Definitely attack speed, but you could definitely also get away with crit damage. Now, this is going to be a build. So in season one, this was a build strictly based on vulnerability because crit at the time was multiplicative. So all you really needed was 500 crit, and you were good to go. But this, since crit is additive, you are going to need both a buttload of vulnerable and a buttload of crit. To Bolt's Will, you could really run anything here. I'm just running to Bolt's Will for the extra damage because teleport and fire and flame shield both make me unstoppable and give me the buff. Boots running concussive strikes, you could really run whatever you want. Um, Once again, at least have movement speed. You are gonna need to chance for freeze. Now, if you don't run to Bolt's Will, you can put on the extra chance to freeze. Um, but I'm running concussive strikes. You can run whatever you want here. I'm running it for the extra damage. I triple crit on the max life because I really needed life. I wanted at least a double crit, but I got a triple, and I'm happy with it. I would get rid of the armor though. I would put anything else on there you could do. Whatever you really need, honestly. Whatever you need to meet any requirements or anything. Honestly, you could always just go with intelligence there if you don't need anything. The wand, as I said, it's going to be a mix of crit and vulnerability. So intelligence max life, you can either go with crit or vulnerability. Whatever you roll on the wand, you will roll as the temper for the other one on your amulet. So if you roll crit on wand, put vulnerability on your amulet, um, whatever. But and then the same thing with a temper. So since I have crit as an affix, the second temper other than chance for ice shards to cast twice would be vulnerability. Because you want both. You are going to need both, especially when you're running petrify. You need as big of a stat for crit as you can after the multiplier. Um, the focus, intelligence, lucky hit chance, and chance to restore primary resource. I had the chance to restore primary resource just sitting here just because this is a lucky hit build. You are going to need a lot of lucky hit. If your lucky hit is not that high, you could 100% throw Fist of Fate on here instead. I'm also using Shredding Blades just to increase stat for my vulnerability, which is 1860. Um, but honestly, do whatever you need. Cooldown reduction or anything like that. Um, the amulet. I put total armor because I need the armor. But I would, but honestly, for a perfect roll, it would be attack speed, total armor, and ranks to devouring blaze. Because you are gonna need as much crit as possible. So my build is not even, it's not even maxed, mid max, nothing. I am running aspect of control because you're freezing everything. You need to be able to shred through the mobs as fast as possible. Bring a Starless Skies, which is a given. Tal Rasha's, you can. So Tal Rasha's is not what it used to be. This one isn't even maxed. But Tal Rasha's definitely did get a nerf because it's only for 5 seconds now. It is not permanent. So you could run anything here, honestly. You would just have to take a look at whatever your roll is. So mine is 16, so I'm only gonna be getting 54% total for multiplicative damage output. I could honestly put anything there because you're not even getting all three at once all the time. You could definitely put anything else here for a permanent buff, like seated. You could do um, you could do Storm Swell if you really wanted to, because the way I have the skill tree set up, you almost always have uh, Ice Armor. Storm Swell did get nerfed. It's not vulnerable anymore. It's damage while Ice Armor is active, plus an extra 15% when they're frozen. So you could definitely get rid of this and run Storm Swell. Storm Swell would be a very good option. But on the but if you were to run a regular ring, it would be attack speed and max life, obviously, and then you could do either vulnerable or crit, and then well, no, you would do attack speed, crit chance, and then if you need health, go with health. If you want more damage, you can go with crit or vulnerability with the regular affix and the temper. Then the aspect would obviously be Storm Swell. The skill tree. 2 points in Firebolt, and then you're gonna go. Now this is a different build. It's not strictly Ice Shards. This is a Frost Mage. So obviously your damage output will be from Ice Shards, but you will also be doing a good amount with Frozen Orb. Because Frozen Orb will also will have its own lucky hit. Even though it's 8%, it's still it's good to bring up the stagger bar as fast as possible. I was doing tier 65, and when it comes to the bosses, the more you stagger them, the harder it is to stagger and the more damage reduction they gain. And I was able to stagger them pretty fast once I hit the third one. The third one is where it starts to show, and I was still able to stagger pretty fast. So you're going to go up to Greater Frozen Orb. I mean, you really don't have to. You could just stick with Enhanced. I do it just to make sure they're always vulnerable, even though you are running Destructive Ice Shards, which then again, you're putting 5 points in Ice Shards. You're going with Enhanced and Destructive. I've tried Greater, and it seems to be bugged because I'm noticing that when I do have a barrier active, the Ice Shards still aren't ricocheting. So that's why we're doing Lucky Hit Chance to Freeze to make sure it's going to register and go with Destructive Ice Shards. 3 points in Elemental Dominance because you want as much core skill damage as possible. Flame Shield, I went to Shimmering Flame Shield. You don't have to. You really don't need any of this. You could save these 2 points and put them elsewhere. This, you do need Shimmering Teleport. 1 point in Teleport itself for that damage reduction and the mobility. Ice Armor, you could go with Shimmering, or, which is what I did, or you go with Mystical, which is extra damage output. For when they're frozen, and honestly, it's not a bad option. But you're better off going with Shimmering and then removing Tal Rasha's and putting on Storm Swell. 3 points in Precision Magic. You need that lucky hit chance as high as possible. Ice Blades, and then summoned Ice Blades for cooldown. 1 point in Align Elements because you just don't need to take damage, and you'll have permanent damage reduction. Protection, put 3 points in that for as big of a barrier as possible. Mana Shield also for as much damage reduction as possible. Conjuration Mastery because you are summoning. I mean, you really don't have to put points here. I put points here just because extra mana regeneration and extra damage. You really don't need to. You're only putting out one Ice Blade at a time, so you could definitely take this out and put it. Oh, well, there we go. Glass Cannon. Now you're gonna do 1 point in Inner Flames to get the Devouring Blaze. Put 3 points, which hopefully, if you can get the perfect roll amulet, you'll have at least 6 there, which will be great. 3 points in Elemental Synergies, which is just a free damage output. And since we are using Frost skills, we have 4 Frost skill on our action bar, which means we're going to get 12 multiplicative increased damage for our Ice Blades. 3 points in Permafrost, 3 points in Icy Touch, and 3 points in Hoarfrost. We're putting 1 point in Deep Freeze, because Deep Freeze is just, it's just the oh shit button, is really what it is. Now, with the way that things are, you could go with either one of these. I prefer this one because it's bigger damage output, and since our lucky hit is already insanely high, and it is a lucky hit build, we have that permanent 60%, and it costs no resource. But Enlightenment is a new thing, and it is pretty good considering you're getting more attack speed, which is more ice shards out, 25% multiplicative flat damage, and increased mana regeneration, which means your lucky hit chance for restored mana will be bigger. So you could really go with either one depending on what kind of build you're doing and what you want to do. Now the Paragon board. First board, we're going with crowd control. Control, sorry. For the crowd control damage, you're going to grab as much dex as possible. You are going to get the extra damage to elite. You're going to go up the non-physical side. You're going to go up into the next board, which is going to be Frigid Fate. Because Frigid Fate for any sorcerer build, Frigid Fate is always on it. You are going to put Exploit here. You're going to get as much dexterity as possible. You're going to grab the nodes down here for extra vulnerable damage and damage reduction from vulnerable. They're always vulnerable. You will always have that damage reduction. You're going to go to the right. You're going to get the new board called Fundamental Release, which is each time you apply Vulnerable, Burning, or Critical Strike, which we do all three. They take 10% increased damage from you up to 30%. So once we throw out that first Ice Shard set, we already got that 30% and we're good to go. You're going to put Destruction here for as much crit as possible. You're getting 807% once you get all the dexterity. You're going to get the non-physical to meet the quota for Frigid Fate. You are going to get, you don't have to get the damage reduction here. I did for more survivability since my health is only at 2,000. So I got all the damage reduction possible. You don't have to. You can take these out and you can put it elsewhere for anything you need. If you need resistances, if you need damage, whatever you want to do, it's really up to you. You're going to go up. You're going to go to the bottom of Icefall. And you don't really have to do it this way that I did it, but I did it this way just because I was going to go up here anyway. And it saves me on points, so because then when I finished this, I had 70 points extra. So I was able to go and do all the rare nodes around the board, which is why I was able to get all these. So it saves you on points, but it's up to you. You're going to go back to the second board. You're going to go up top. You are going to put, you are going to put Flame Feeder for the extra damage to burning targets. They're always burning. You're always going to have this. You're going to get as much of the dexterity as possible. There's not much dex here. There's only 39, but still 300 in the bucket is better than what it is on live realm right now, which probably is barely 100. So you're gonna grab the rare node for non-physical damage to once again meet the quota for Frigid Fate. Get the burning damage here. You're going to, you don't have to grab the damage to the elites. I do. It just helps with shredding to get through pits and dungeons faster. Then you're gonna go back. You're gonna go to the right to the top half of Icefall. and you are going to put reinforced. I did it for survivability. You could honestly put anything here. Put anything. If you want more damage for when they are, for when, for, for anything, really, like you could do winter. You get multiplicative for the legendary bonus. You get multiplicative crowd control damage. Also, you do increased damage for chilled or frozen enemies, which would actually be perfect for this. And it is an amplified just like this one. This is Dex, and this one is willpower. So you would just be taking out some points. You could also do, where is it? Where is it? You could also do frostbite, which is damage to chilled. Now, which is increased cold damage as well. And you get a damage reduction. You also get damage reduction when they're not frozen anymore. So you could also do this to keep survivability and to keep your damage output up. Now, the chilled does register when the bosses are staggered and when they are, I believe, also when they're no, not when they're frozen, but it is extra damage for staggered bosses. So it is up to you on whichever one you want to do. You could also do Enchanter, which actually Enchanter is not that bad right now because it's just straight up flat damage. Show you. It is just 370 flat damage. You could definitely get a whole lot more if you really wanted to. 453 flat damage. I might keep this one here, or you could honestly experiment with whatever you want to do. It's honestly up to you. But that is the build. Yeah, so no, this honestly, I am very excited for this season because you will be able to do so many different builds that aren't meta at all right now. Like, if you saw my previous builds, there's the Stoneburst build, which is new and it is very good. There's the Sever build, which usually when you see people using Sever, it's usually for the damage over time. This one is not. And then this is an Ice Shards build, which is just absolutely insane, and it's great. I'm gonna this season's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait. Thank you everyone for watching, and please enjoy the gameplay to see how the build runs. Bye, guys. So I do just want to state, I do just want to say before I end the video, I did switch the glyph to frostbite, and it is absolutely it felt like because of the multiplicative cold damage I was doing, I was shredding through the mobs faster. Obviously, my survivability is not the greatest. It is, as you saw, I died, and got I had low health, nearly died a bunch of different times. But once you get your survivability going, um, and you're just unstoppable. The build is absolutely insane. I hope you guys enjoy it. I know I'm enjoying this, and this is still the last day. But thank you everyone for being here. I will see all of you next time. Bye.